All right, welcome one and all to Go Mode Podcast. This is Cinaeth coming in for another VOD restream. This is going to be Centroid versus Nobly. How is everyone doing today? I am joined by the very special Malmo.
Hello, this is Malmo. I'm here to commentate this race. After the fact, it has been run. I have not been spoiled of the results this time, so it should be very fun.
Yeah, I haven't seen the results of this either. So this is going to be kind of a mystery for both of us going into this. What are you predicting on this round 3, Centroid versus Nobly?
To be quite honest, I don't know because I'm not super familiar with these runners. I have not personally mentored either of them, although I did mentor play against Nobly last week. And that was a very close race, so, knowing very little about Centroid, I want to say Nobly has a good chance, but I don't know anything about Centroid, so this is going to be very, very unknown to me.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a good race, I think, both ways. I'm just going to be playing with music here just a second so that it's not blasting in my ears. Yeah, this is... Yeah, you're right. This is Triforce Major. So for those of you who are not familiar, the music is provided by Overclocked Remix, a DMCA free music site. Definitely go check out their YouTube. They're definitely worth supporting. But let's switch over to our runners who are, well, they're both readied up. They seem to be slightly paused. But we're just going to get them going here in just a moment.
Hurry up, guys. You guys are like several hours late.
Yeah. So we're just going to unpause both of them, and then I may need to change their... So we're going to pause him for just a moment.
And we're off. So, instant flute in Link's house. That's going to be almost certainly activated this run. You don't always activate the flute in Overworld Glitches unless it's convenient to do so. Looks like both runners are opting for a Lake Hylia Island check. This is a Sphere 1 location because you can clip to it. I imagine they will be choosing not to. It may look as if Nobly is clipping to it, but I believe he is actually going to the hobo from here.
I don't think this is necessarily a bad move, getting bombs really early, especially if you're planning on going into Sasha's hut. Although you can boots hit that wall, but if you're planning on doing anything else, Turtle Rock Green Pendant, that's going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah, you don't really grab bombs for Saha's hut, and if you were going to go to Saha's hut, you would actually be foregoing that item. So Nobly here needs to be jumping twice to get across here, and then not transitioning too early. Oh, it looks like he is going for those bombs. Color me wrong.
Yep, got the bombs, and we're going to save and quit off the island, because that's the only way back off it. And chat, don't be afraid to tell me that audio needs to be balanced a little bit, or something needs to be changed. I can't hear the stream, I'm just going off of what OBS is showing me.
So Centroid and Nobly are continuing along the path to the Lost Woods. From there, they will choose to either go to the mountain or to Kakariko, depending on what they choose and what they decide and what they find. And Nobly immediately Nega rewarded with bombs, almost nullifying that extra effort it took to get the bombs on the island.
Yeah, definitely added a little bit of time to their run. Hopefully they can pull off some tricks to make up that lost time getting over to Hylia Island.
So another interesting note is that Centroid is going clockwise and Nobly is going counterclockwise. That may not make a big difference, but it can determine how you climb the mountain, whether you go up to Hera or whether you go down. It looks like Nobly is not going up the mountain at all.
Yep, looks like Nobly just wanted to check Lumberjack and is now headed down to Kakariko Village.
Oh, no.
Into the woods.
No. Going clockwise. Just a little bit more roundabout.
Yeah, so if you go up to Lumberjack, you can get into the forest on the side right next to Lumberjack, and then just get into Lost Woods. You don't have to come all the way around to the southern side of Lost Woods to get those items.
I bet Nobly is happy to see those bombs at the tree pole after he worked so hard for the 3 on the island.
Yeah, so I saw 20s on a tree pole. I saw bombs on a tree pole. I'm not sure what tiers those poles were on. So we have bombs, we have rupees on tree poles right now.
Given the number of enemies they would have encountered, is very likely to be a tier 1 tree pole. Now, it's very common to reroute to Kakariko if you have found bombs, because going up to the mountain is to get bombs.
Pearl.
There you go, Moon Pearl and Kak.
Easy seed. An early bow. So Eastern Palace is free. I'm gonna guess with that bow, we're not gonna be seeing Eastern anytime soon though. We're gonna be going to Pod and then Eastern. Although Eastern's a pendant, it looks like.
So Pod and then Eastern on 3 hearts with no hammer. Maybe not so fast. There's plenty of other things to do on the way in, but we'll see.
And Centroid, our racer, who is obviously cheating by watching this race. No, I'm joking. Is clarifying that Red Rupees is the tier 3 where you don't take damage and pull the tree.
Wow, we already have Zora money and we're just in Kak. We haven't gone to South Shore yet, so this is so far a very generous seed with regards to resources in the early game. Mm-hmm. We even have a little bit of arrows for our bow.
Looks like the bottle merchant learned from Zora and has become a tax collector today, getting 100 for 20 rupees. The real question is does that mean Zora is going to be generous, or is Zora going to be the bigger tax collector?
I'm a little nervous. I didn't see Nobly activate that flute. And I don't see it on their tracker either.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen them activate the flute either, so...
We joke that it's a paperweight, but when you get it this early, it does save time to use it over the course of the run. Especially when you're already here at Kakariko. But it's very easy to just ignore the item you get in Link's house because you're thinking about your route. Centroid is doubling back. Oh, back of tavern. What a thing to forget. Just a heart piece, though. Here's Nobly activating the flute.
Yep, so now we have double flute activation all the way across the sky.
We'll be seeing a lot of bird today. A very rare sight. They are endangered in this game mode.
I'm hoping we get to see at least one melted bird.
Oh, and there's a glove on the library.
Yeah. So we already have semi Ice Palace access. We just need some Fire Rod or Bombos, and we got some really good Ice Palace access.
That's a shovel. So Centroid is not going to go for the clip that cheats the race game. He's just going to do it legit, which is understandable. If you do it wrong, you can actually soft lock, and that can interrupt your route. So this is a good call if you feel like you're not quite confident at that clip.
Yeah, and let's see what Nobly ends up doing with it. Looks like they're going to be doing a clip. This does look like a race game clip.
I don't believe I've ever seen it done on the second bump before, but I know there's a bunch of different ways to get this. You can actually see that the time it took Centroid to do the race game isn't really that much greater than the time it's taking Nobly to do the clip. So in a race setting, it might be advisable to just do what's comfortable.
And Flipper's just sitting on the ledge waiting for someone to put them on so they can go swimming.
Speaking of Ice Palace. There we go. It looks like Nobly's getting some coaching from the mentor, possibly waiting for an instruction, because the inputs after this are pretty specific. However, if he were to soft lock, it wouldn't be the end of the world, because he does have the flute and could just go, oh, there it is. So to avoid that soft lock, you have to tap right to get out of the stump. But with the flute in hand, it's not really the end of the world. You can just run back. There's our first item in Desert Palace, just a heart container. I don't believe we've seen a map check from either of these runners yet.
We have. So Hera and Eastern Palace are pendants. Desert Palace is a crystal. And what's even worse is that Hera and Eastern are both not the green pendant. They're red and blue.
Oh yeah, we saw Turtle Rock as green pendant from Sahasrara, so we have all our pendant information already. As for the red crystals, we don't really start worrying about those until we're looking for a mirror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the
fairy
reason
locked.
being, you can use the mirror to get in with a glitch, but if you don't have the mirror, you may still be required to escort that bomb, which always feels a little bit bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the mirror could be fairy locked.
Now, this would be a really nice time to do Land Molus. However, we don't have a fire source yet, so we'll be coming back to that later.
Yeah, this is a perfect time to go check out Agina's cave. Nice suicide bomb into the wall.
That saves a few frames. If you're not worried about your health, it is faster to walk into the wall with your bomb than it is to throw the bomb and walk into it after.
Only because you're right against the transition while you're pushing into it while the bomb explodes the wall.
So I can see what Centroid is doing here. Normally you want to choose to do Agina's cave last because it's slow to walk out. However, Centroid has a shovel. And with that shovel, he's going to drop down and check that dig spot. And that's going to also be an extra screen transition if you were to double back into Agina's cave, as well as an extra teleport, which can take a variable amount of time depending on how comfortable you are with those. So this is a smart route through the Desert Overworld area. Mm-hmm. And yes, we do consider the dig spot part of the Desert Overworld area in this mode.
An ice rod for their efforts.
So we got some permafrost from the shovel.
So race game was required one way or the other. Well, not necessarily, because we don't know... Well, Turtle Rock's green pendant, so not necessarily required. We don't know what Trinex might have.
Oh, so Centroid hasn't done Checkerboard Cave yet, so he actually does have to double back and do this clip to get back up. It would have been...
Oh, he's going to... he's actually going to Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah, this is Checkerboard Cave. So it would have been faster to do Checkerboard Cave and Cave 45 and then do Agina, but that's an easy thing to... It's kind of a hard thing to do the math about. As a rule of thumb, you want Agina to be last if you can. So Nobly is trying to arm a spin speed here to clip through this wall. You actually cannot do spin speed if you are facing a wall and touching it, because the A button instead of dashing would cause Link to grab the wall. And even though you can't see it, that does prevent you from getting that spin dash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always step at least a couple pixels away from the wall before you try to do a spin speed. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good time.
It's a really tough one because there's no visual feedback that it's not working because you're grabbing the wall. So a lot of people will just think they're bad at spin speed and not realize that they're making it impossible by their positioning.
Looks like Nobly is following Centroid, though, making the same, I wouldn't call it mistake, but same choice in doing Checkerboard Cave after doing the dig spot.
I think it's kind of a no glitches habit to do Desert after Agina, or Agina after Desert. So people drop down and Agina's right there, so they'll just do it. So it takes a little bit of rewiring to think about this overworld area in terms of what's the most efficient way to get to all four of these locations. It's sort of like a train problem. Like you have to connect the trains of Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Build a subway.
Just don't ask me which which train track to go down if there are 5 people on one and 1 person on the other.
Aw. If you have 5 progression items and laser bridge and 1 progression item, yeah. that sometimes it feels like that when you're mentoring them because you feel like you're possibly steering them away from progression that they would have gotten if they had followed their gut. And then you feel bad when they lose the race because of it.
Cough, left side swamp cough. No, I'm joking.
Oh boy. I will never live that one down, will I? Hey, you didn't want to go to left side swamp either.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody wants to go to left side swamp.
Yeah, but now we know, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe.
Centroid is grabbing this rock here. I imagine that was just a kind of a fidget. Sometimes you just grab the rock and forget you actually have a glove. Mostly because I don't think he needs money for anything else in this game, unless he plans on getting potions, which he does not have bottles for. Oh,
Nice
Moldorms
little...
are on the fairy pack. This might come in handy later. These are
handy if we need to go into Hera.
Many enemies are on this pack. This is the pack that normally drops rupees, so that includes like the rats in Hyrule Castle, the Octoroks on the Overworld. So having access to that resource can actually be very useful.
Learning item packs is something that I still need to do. Like, I don't understand it.
You only need to pay attention to a couple. If you play standard, you want to know which ones have bombs. Otherwise, you're mostly just going to be looking at the magic pack and the fairy pack.
I don't think forgetting flippers is necessarily a bad thing here. You still got the water walk, so you got up to waterfall very fast, and just going in there would disable your water walk, so I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing to forget about it.
Going in there does not disable your water walk.
It doesn't. I did not know that.
Nope. So the way the water walk works is if you go in with Boots water walk, you can do whatever you want as long as you don't grab a 4th heart piece that will refill you. That will send you into an animation that puts you in a fake flipper. The only kind of problem where you can't get water walk is if you're going in with a fake flipper and you don't have the moon pearl. So the moon pearl has no bearing on whether a Boots water walk will work or not. It only affects the fake flipper water walk.
Oh, so the reason that they're losing water walk is actually because of the not deep water that you can actually walk on when you have flippers.
This is why having flippers before these checks actually sucks. It slows you down considerably, having to swim, alternatively, dodge, dash. When you have a water walk, you can actually just dash everywhere as long as you don't touch land. But when you have flippers, even with the water walk, shallow water will put you back into a walking state.
So Centroid gets a small key down in the back of Escape, is going to save and quit. That small key actually puts Dark Cross into logic, so I don't know if I necessarily agree with that decision to save and quit out of there when Dark Cross could have an item.
It can. It's not in logic presently because we don't have fire, but
correct.
It can in fact be an item. I didn't catch whether there was also a map. If you don't catch the map, you usually want to hope that that's in Dark Cross instead, and then you'll never have to go.
That is true, and we did not see a map if I saw correctly, so that is probably the gamble we're taking here.
So Nobly is doing this clip again, which normally would be used to set up a fake flipper at Hobo. When you have the flippers, you can actually clip straight through that railing that's next to the blue guards. When you don't have the flippers, there's a slightly more difficult setup where you can clip through that and get a fake flipper on the bridge. It's a bit more of an advanced strat, but with the flippers, it's actually free, and it's worth just trying that instead.
And that might just be muscle memory, because so many people are used to not having flippers that they're just doing the not flipper method.
How many times have you tried to dash with your water walk and just hit shallow water and felt sad? So we got simultaneous dark rooms from our runners.
Mm-hmm.
This is like
we're rescuing the old man.
With our flute in hand, we will not be seeing a Death Mountain ascent, sadly. But there will be plenty more glitches to be had later this run. So chat is asking if this is a rerun. This is what we call a vodcast. Neither of us has actually seen this race yet, and we are restreaming the VODs of the runners and kind of commentating it as if it were happening now. So that's why you're seeing the runners in chat and answering questions.
Yeah, so the runners are able to be here and answer questions. They're not going to spoil the seed for us because none of us have actually seen it, and the only people who have seen it are the mentors and the runners.
So that heart piece on Spectacle Rock, that is accessible with glitches. It is just a heart piece though, so Centroid will not be grabbing that. It can be worth checking that before walking into Hera because you might find something there like a sword or a hook shot that makes Hera better. And there's our first bottle. That'll be an easy turn-in with the flute, if the runners can remember to do so.
Yeah, and saving that red bottle for later. I mean, they have bow, so they don't necessarily need to do a potion glitch later, but at least emptying the bottle and then refilling it with a blue potion if they really want to, like, YBA with a blue potion.
Yeah, so a YBA is what it's called Yuzuharu's Bottle Adventure. Basically, when you drink a potion on an overworld screen transition, specifically a blue potion, it will put you in what's called a fake flute, which allows you to use the flute in the dark world. It will consume the potion, so they can only use it once. But with that flute and plenty of money in hand, they may actually choose to buy potions more than they would if they didn't have that flute. So we'll be seeing possibly potion use for healing or for fake fluting this run.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see.
Yeah, Nobly is doing a clip called TR Climb. This is a East Death Mountain access clip. It gets you onto this conveniently placed land bridge that you can just dash across and then get to East Death Mountain without the hammer or hook shot. This is all in logic. The game expects us to do this. Checking that floating island. I couldn't see what it was. I'm not sure if
I couldn't see what it was either. Yeah.
It looks like nobody wants it because he's about to do an upward teleport at the spot to get into the clouds. A bug net. Okay. That's another thing you can do with that bottle. You can get some safety fairies and a bug net.
It looks like Centroid is trying to get out of the clouds without having to save and quit. There it is.
Yeah. There's a little ledge you can hop up into that will somehow send you down. This is a lot of dedication for a glove or for a bug net.
I mean, if you feel like you need the fairy safety, it's definitely worth getting.
It is, but this is not an easy trick to get inbounds here. Getting out of bounds is easy, but getting inbounds is not. And it's very easy to hit this sort of soft lock scenario. I think you can wiggle your way out of it. I think that's what Nobly is trying to do here, but
and that red potion already came into use on Centroid's side. Very low life coming out of the bottom of mountain and just coming back up to full.
Heads up play. Potions are indeed useful for healing as well as glitching. Nobly has picked up the bug net and is now going to go back in bounds by clipping through this railing. So once you clip in, there's a couple taps in certain directions you have to hit. I think he's probably getting some instruction from Obscure to get back in bounds. I'm starting to think that actually the only way he knows to get back in bounds is through that spin speed clip because he's trying to get back onto the island.
There was a hammer on Paradox Cave in the first two chests, so now we're in the mini Moldorm part of it, trying to get these chests.
Well, we have traditional Dark World access now. And a flute. This is a very boring Overworld Glitches seed, in my opinion. There you go. So if you tap up and left, that will get you back in bounds once you land in that railing.
Yeah, hopefully with the item accessibility that our runners have right now, they'll still be able to showcase a couple of glitches throughout this run.
Yeah, if nothing else, they're missing the mitts and mirror. So without those items, there will be some glitches necessary to access certain places. And there's a cape in Spiral Cave. I imagine Centroid must have picked it up too, but I didn't catch it. It's not on his tracker.
Yeah, I imagine so as well, because I remember Centroid coming out of that cave and using a red potion, so...
Nobly has taken an unfortunate death on a dead rock. He swiped at it, but dead rocks retain some harming properties while being stunned, and he walked into it, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So Nobly's going to get back up there and just quickly check Paradox Cave again.
And Centroid confirming that, yes, they got the cape, they just had forgotten to mark it on their tracker.
Yeah, well, I saw them walk out of Paradox Cave, so I figured as much. So this is Ganon's Tower. Centroid has climbed the mountain and then jumped back down to access this clip spot that will wrap his screen and get him into Ganon's Tower. So jump down, tap right, and then walk up the stairs. Ganon's Tower is open and accessible and not junk-filled in this mode. It can have progression. Right now, he has logical access to 3 locations and out-of-logic access to several more. Actually, 4 locations.
Yeah,
depending on keys.
The 3 locations are the Hope Chest room that we just saw, and then the torch that's on the other side. You can bonk and bomb jump into the left side of GT. Again, that is completely out of logic, so we'll have to see how far into GT we get.
There is one chest on this side that is in logic through bonking. However, it requires several keys, so depending on the key logic, which I admittedly don't understand very well, may or may not be in logic here. You can access it with only bonking, and that's why it's in logic.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be our first bomb jump.
Yeah, and this is not an easy bomb jump.
Yeah, if you know the spin setup, it's free. There's no pixel lineup, but if you don't know the spin setup, you kind of have to just blindly do it. There's a trick where you can hammer dash into it as well, and then hold away and use your hammer's animation to stop you on the correct pixel. If the spin setup gives you trouble, you may want to try that instead. In this mode, you will always have the hammer and boots when you're on that platform, so that will always be available to you. There's silver arrows.
Yeah, silver arrows, mirror shield. I'm starting to like Laser Bridge right now, is with that mirror shield.
We're already on mirror shield. Now, Laser Bridge, because this is advanced placement logic, Laser Bridge doesn't actually care about your shield level, but it will certainly make it nicer.
Alright, we're gonna bonk across all this stuff again.
Yeah, and Centroid's going to show us that you do not need bomb jumps to get to this door over here. You do need keys, and there's a certain number of keys that this will require to be in logic.
I want to say we have enough keys, having 4 coming up to this point, but I'm in the same boat as Malmo. I don't know the key logic for this.
Oh, this is a situation where it's actually relevant too, because you want to know if that book should be followed or not. The book leads to 2 fetch quest locations. We've already been shown that it's not needed for Desert Palace. But silver arrows are not a bad prize for... Oh, so nobody has done an up teleport instead of a down teleport here. This is always a soft lock. There's no way out of this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Best to just save and quit and try again.
Alright, so we're going to be coming up to another chest here where you do normally need a hook shot in logic to get to, but you can bomb jump it, but with 1 heart, that's probably not going to happen.
That's actually not going to happen, yeah, because 1 heart is not enough to survive a bomb blast on green mail. So it's hover or die. Yeah, I think he was hoping to find a heart here. There is a heart in the upper right pot, I believe, but I think he got that already.
Mm-hmm.
If you move through that room correctly, you can actually get all the fire snakes to be off screen and then never come back because they stop moving when they're off screen. But once you've fallen, they become activated again, and then you're going to have a hard time getting that bomb jump off. Centroid is dedicated to this play, though. He's going to come back and try it again.
Yeah, this is definitely a gamble, coming up and trying to go all the way in to get your big key and maybe even do an Aga 2 play with no fire, which isn't possible either.
Yeah, it's not possible. And hookshot, I think if Centroid could hover, he would have done so in that room over there, so I don't think that's going to happen, nor do I think that's a good idea. That was the wrong way to do the bombs. We're seeing Super Bunny Cave on Nobly's side. There's also one chest in Hookshot Cave you can get in Logic by bonking.
Yep.
With a glove, it'll be easy to get to. Otherwise, there's a clip that could be required if you don't have a glove, and that could be very slow to get to. I hope Nobly realizes that that chest is in Logic. Yeah, so I think it's possible that he's been told by his mentor that this chest is in Logic here.
I also think he was looking at the medallion on Turtle Rock just out of curiosity. It's not required to use that medallion necessarily, depending on the key logic inside of Turtle Rock.
Is this going to be a hover attempt? Yes, it is. This is a hover attempt. The only reason you kill that Bari from over here. Centroid has taken another death. This will be a save and quit. So Centroid, I imagine, will be coming back here with the hook shot later to get them in Logic.
So Nobly did one attempt at hover, fell down the pit, is going to try it again. This is definitely out of Logic right now, and you're burning a little bit of time even by falling down. I would only... I'd recommend doing this once. After that, go look for your hook shot, because there's no point in looking at these items until you have it.
And we know that Swamp Palace is a crystal, so that hook shot is going to be required regardless.
Yep.
Centroid is going to go to the Dark World here. Maybe do a ped check on the way. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, this is just straight Dark World. This is going to be normal, no major glitches, Dark World access through the hammer portal access.
Yeah. Nobly is leaning hard, hoping that we can get early access into an item that is... Ooh, look at this. Look at this.
This hover. This is going. This is going. Yes.
Yep, we got it. So, all for a heart. So let's see if we can get the second one.
Oh, he was so dedicated to it. He healed with the potion. So he's lining up on the edge of the pit, I guess, to maximize or minimize the time you have to spend hovering.
Well, not only that, but you can bonk off this skull.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Ooh,
he doesn't want to miss that one, I think.
Can you bonk across this part of the pit? I don't think you can, but oh, here we go with another hover.
Hookshot Cave is always two hovers. Some people choose to do it from the middle platform, going both up and to the left. Unfortunately, nothing good, except for the Cane of Burna, which doesn't really do much considering we already have the cape.
Right.
Centroid is just going to blast through Village of Outcasts and do Thieves Town. Thieves Town is entirely within Logic and accessible, including the Hammerlock chest. This is a good play.
Yeah, I mean, super nice hover. If for anyone who has tried that in the past, hovers are not easy. I definitely gotta give props to Nobly for pulling off not one, but two in a row.
Now, just because the hover didn't yield any items doesn't mean that it wasn't a good play. What this means for Nobly is that he doesn't have to think about Hookshot Cave ever again. He's already cleared the top of Dark Death Mountain and only has to come back here for Turtle Rock. In fact, he's doing Turtle Rock now, so this is a choice you have to make. Already making use of that Cane of Burna. Gotta use those prizes. Turtle Rock, when you drop down to it, you're kind of stuck here. The only way to get out here is either by going out the front and mirroring, or mirror clipping out the middle. He doesn't have the tools to do either of those things, so he has effectively orphaned Catfish. Will not be able to do that from above here unless he makes a dedicated trip to it.
Mm-hmm. So Go ahead.
This is potentially more items, but it's often just keys. So it can be a hard decision to make. It's one item for sure, or maybe two items, maybe no items.
Mm-hmm. So for anyone coming in who does not know what's happening right now, well, first off, welcome to Go Mode Podcast. This is a Link to the Past randomizer, and we've done something called Overworld Glitches Mentor Tournament. This is Swiss Round 3. Malmo, can you tell me what in the world are Overworld Glitches?
Overworld Glitches are a way to turn A Link to the Past into Breath of the Wild. It means that you can use out-of-bounds glitches to climb all sorts of hills and mountains that the game doesn't intend you to do, and access areas without the items that would normally be required. These glitches are not necessarily hard, but there are a lot of them to learn, which is why many people may have hesitated to get into the mode. It's kind of overwhelming when you look at how many things might be required. So we began this mentor tournament to kind of ease people into the mode, get some guidance to help them learn the right tricks in the right order so they can play a seed, and then learn more tricks so they can play competitively. There's a sword in the back of Thieves Town. That's going to be very nice going out against these enemies that do 2 hearts of damage.
Yeah, definitely. 2 bombs on a crystal switch. I don't know if I agree with... okay.
If you time it right, you can get, the one them activates and the other one activates while you're on the blue pegs. I think that's what Nobly was going for, but the chain chomp wasn't cooperating and wasn't allowing him to actually go on to those pegs. So that is a big key. Nobly can continue to Crystal Roller Room and open the big chest. In fact, that death there may have not have been intentional, but he would have taken the death here anyway, because that's what you do after finding the big key. There's no way to progress. He's going to hover this because the bomb jump here is actually kind of hard. You have to line up on a certain set of pixels, and often requires you to just bring up a picture guide because memorizing those pixels is kind of tough. The worst thing that can happen
is... The way I've been taught to do this is if you have a default Link sprite and you are facing away from the pit, you just look for when Link's ear is basically in the pit and the rest of him is on the piece of land, and then you put a bomb down and it lets you bomb across.
And are you hugging the left wall when you do this, or are you somewhere else?
I'm just anywhere in the room, really, when I do this.
Okay.
That's a hook shot for their troubles.
Actually a really good find. This is where hovering comes into play, because it can be really hard to convince yourself to go to the dark top of Death Mountain without a hook shot if you cannot hover, because you know you're going to be leaving those items behind. It can also be tough to go in here without the Cane of Samaria. So I say this is a big payoff for Nobly going here early. Small key, this is all Nobly can do without some serious hovering, so we're probably going to save and quit out of here.
Or take a purposeful death.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the purpose of that is. He cannot return to... Yeah.
A bomb into the brewery to open it up and get this, and it is $50. Hiding in the back room.
I think Nobly is taking that hook shot to GT. This is a logical Ganon's Tower play now that he has it. That hook shot was, in fact, in logic. That was very nearly a soft walk going up to Hera. You can get out of that if you hold up, but a lot of people will not realize that and just think that they have to save and quit.
So the other thing that I've heard about Overworld Glitches is that even when you start learning them and you've gotten a few under your belt and you're like, okay, these are basically all the same, you still have a few that are going to throw you for a loop here and there.
Yes, so, well, there's a few that require kind of particular setups that aren't really, they don't follow the rules of the other glitches that you may have learned. And then there's also some interesting logical implications. Especially with regards to where the Moon Pearl can be. Now, the overall glitches do allow you to access places without the Moon Pearl that you wouldn't normally think about. The mode also puts certain minor glitches in logic, and most of those are in the overworld, like Fake Flipper and Water Walk. But a couple notable ones are ones in dungeons that skip the Moon Pearl. The only glitches in dungeons that are in logic are the ones that skip the Moon Pearl. Those are Super Bunny and Dungeon Bunny Revival. What that means is that your Moon Pearl can be in Ice Palace. It can be in Turtle Rock. It can be in Skull Woods. There's Half Magic on Myers Shed. It's a nice find.
A nice hammer kill on Troll Dorm. Definitely not an easy task.
Yeah, Nobly got up here quickly with that hook shot too, doing a Harapot. Harapot is a minor glitch that you're allowed to do. It is not in logic in this mode, but it is a shortcut and can save a lot of time if the game expects you to do the tile room to get the big key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to anyone who has hookshot parapot practice, I salute you, because it is not an easy trick.
Nobly is going... Nobly is proving me wrong here. He is not going to Ganon's Tower. He is actually going to the Dark World.
Yep, this is a Death Mountain Descent.
This is, I believe, faster than going to the Hammer Pigs portal near Kakariko. So, Centroid is attempting a spin speed clip that gets you through this little elbow here. It's a bit of a shortcut, especially if you don't have a glove. Even if you do have a glove, it is faster if you can pull it off.
Yep, and we're going to go see what's in Hype Cave. I'm kind of wondering where Nobly is going now that they've done a Death Mountain Descent. This looks like a Death Mountain Ascent from here. Oh, we're doing a Bumper Cave, I'm guessing.
This is a blind pull of Bumper Cave. Most people will choose to just run up and check it and then do a down teleport to get up, but you can also check it blind by going into Bumper Cave. I'm not convinced that this is actually faster because it requires this extra screen transition and requires you to do a little bit more complicated clip than the teleport would. In this case, it may have saved time because it was an item that he would have grabbed if he had gone up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of a gamble.
I'm curious if he's getting some routing advice from the mentor or just thinking about where to go next. From here, there are some choices you can make. Obviously, Palace of Darkness is a tempting one. With that hammer and bow in hand, you do not have a fire source or specifically a lamp, so it can be difficult if you have trouble with those dark rooms. But it is full clearable on this equipment.
So we have gotten a map check at one point. I may have missed it, but it looks like Skullwoods, Stevestown, Desert Palace, Ice Palace, Misery Mire, Pod, Swamp Palace are the crystals today.
Yeah, well, we did find out from Sahasrara that the green pendant was on Cinaeth.
So I believe right now our runners are really looking for a mirror so that they know that they have it to go into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, the mirror also makes routing a little bit easier. You may have noticed Centroid is actually checking the uncle right now, and this may seem shocking if you're used to no glitches because this is a 40-minute uncle check. This is actually pretty standard for Overworld Glitches to wait until you have the mirror to check this because you can route it in with the Pyramid Fairy mirror clip. Once you've gone a certain amount of time without the mirror, you start to wonder if your mirror is actually just in here.
Yeah, the mirror could be really early in Uncle. It could also be really early in Eastern Palace.
Yeah, it could also be really late. So you might end up just never checking this. And if it has something good, then you feel pretty bad getting this an hour and a half in.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see if this play ends up being the play that we need to make in order to find mirror or to find another required item. We are still looking for Hookshot on Centroid's side. He does not know that it is in Turtle Rock.
I find it amusing that both runners have grabbed the ice rod for Pendant Trinex and neither of them has marked it on their trackers.
They just don't want to think about going there, and I don't think I can blame them.
No, I didn't find that. I don't need that. Ice rod doesn't mean anything until you find fire rod anyway, so can't blame them for that.
Fire rod and red cane. You would need all three items.
If nothing else, even the lamp is logically required for Trinex because everything beyond that big key door follows no glitches logic. The glitch that gets you to the back of Turtle Rock through Laser Bridge is not in logic, unlike the one that gets you into the middle. Nobly is on one. Yeah, Nobly is on one heart in Thieves Town.
This is starting to get a little scary, but I have seen he has powder, so we can powder this anti-fairy. There it is.
That is one of my favorite anti-fairies in the game. That Patrick Star gave him some bad RNG, so that was a pretty heads-up play there.
Two players climbing down two sets of stairs at the same time.
Both of them rescuing two different maidens.
One's a real maiden, one's a fake maiden.
Oh yeah, one of them has already been rescued too.
Or, so the other one's sleeping in Aghanim 1's tower.
and simultaneously in the sanctuary. So this is a death warp setup from Centroid. He's thinking there is something in Dark Cross. I need to get it. There is no small key. Yeah, it's a really easy mistake to make, to think, oh, I have the hammer, I can do the big chest, and to just go for that key dash there and bonk off of the door because you don't have a small key. If you don't have a small key, it's because it's in that room.
Yep, it is possible for the small key to be locked by the big chest.
Of course, that only happens when you have the hammer, because rando logic loves to screw you over when you don't have the hammer and put an item there.
Yep, so one of the many times that you have to make a call of, hey, there's still an item in Thieves Town, do I go back for it? We all know seeds like that.
Nobody's playing it very safe with blind.
Mm-hmm.
Takes him down for a heart piece. They're still pretty on... Well, nobly is on really low health, considering how far they've come into the seed. Only 7 hearts in green mail. I'm very surprised that he hasn't gone to yet.
So Centroid is trying to find the chest in Dark Cross. I don't think that they were able to find it, or the item that was in it. I couldn't see it because it was in the dark.
Centroid found a tempered sword.
Oh, okay. That'll do it.
Yeah, that's a good find. That's something you maybe feel bad about not getting from Back of Escape, but on the other hand, it's not actually required, so getting it later isn't the end of the world. Centroid's going to go back up the mountain. I wonder if this is an Easteth Mountain play. And Tower of Hera, possibly. No. Ether Tablet.
Oh yeah. Ether Tablet with the book. Let's see what this book has for us.
I'll admit to having forgotten where the book was.
It was in GT. It was in the firebar room. So I'm wondering if Centroid at this point is now thinking of going into Bombos. Flying to 6 instead of 5. Yeah, we're going to Bombos.
It's interesting that Centroid doesn't have the mitts from Bumper Ledge. The mitts don't mean as much in this mode as they do in No Glitches. The only thing they're really locking right now, as we can see from Nobly, is the Smith chain. So just the Smith and purple chest. They can also lock other things, but given their equipment, they actually don't lock those locations. The flippers are putting Ice Palace in logic through a clip that they can do. And they've already found their Moon Pearl, which is what the mitts tend to lock in this mode. It's either the Smith chain or the Moon Pearl locations or Ice Palace.
Oh, the one place that the Smith will actually let you take him inside is the Misery Shed.
It's not specifically Mire Shed, it's caves that are not on the EG1 map, so these are single entrance caves and houses. The Smith does not like the EG1 map, which is where the dungeons live. Dungeons and caves that have multiple entrances. I can only imagine. The Smith, he lives in a single entrance cave. That's his home. He does not live in a dungeon, and dungeons are scary.
That makes sense.
Just 50 rupees on Sick Kid. Centroid is going to Easteth Mountain again. From here, he actually has hammer access here. He's just now figuring this out. It's really easy to forget that you can just use the hammer sometimes to go across the mountain.
Yeah, because you're not always using that to get over here.
So the reason he's going this way is because the hammer unlocks the Turtle Rock portal. You do not need the mitts to get up there. Wow, that's Bombos. So that's Bombos on the Smith, locked by those gloves. Bombos puts up Misery Mire. That is required.
Yep. So Smith Chain is required, which means that the mitts on Bumper Ledge are required.
Yes. You can skip the requirement for mitts to get the Smith, but sequence breaking the Smith is a very questionable play. It's slow. Requires you to do one of several things, one of which is to do an overworld potion glitch. Another one is to do some funky shenanigans with the mirror. All of those are pretty slow.
So it looks like Centroid is going to be checking the bonk chest in Hookshot Cave. We'll see if Centroid decides to go ahead and do a hover. Nope, we're back out.
Yeah, so the real decision to be made here is, do you go to Catfish or do you go to Turtle Rock? And it is very reasonable to go either way, and it looks like Centroid is going to go to Catfish. Catfish is, in this situation, it's the wrong play, but there's no way to know that. It's always kind of a left or go right situation. You don't know which one is going to have the progression, if any. It could just be that there's a cane sitting somewhere, and that will lead Centroid back to Turtle Rock and to get that hook shot.
Right.
I
and
think
we're still looking for Mirror, too.
His best bet right now is Palace of Darkness, and this is kind of the play I would make too on this equipment, because you can go from Catfish to Pod very quickly using a teleport down here at the Crab Pit.
I'm kind of wondering why it's called the Crab Pit when there are no crabs in it.
It has, I think those are crabs.
They're Octoroks. Well, they're mutated Octoroks, but they're Octoroks.
I guess so, yeah. This is not Pod. This is somewhere else. I wonder if he's thinking Pyramid and then Pod, because Pyramid kind of would be orphaned at this point if you don't go here.
Yep, looks like we're going to Pyramid.
Super Bunny. Oh, so Centroid is
going to Magic Bat.
This is Hammer Pegs, and it would be Magic Bat if we were in the Light World. Has Centroid already checked the pyramid, or is this another forgotten location?
This is a forgotten location so far, I believe, for Centroid, but he can correct us if we're wrong.
So he's actually telling us in chat that he forgot to check Super Bunny Cave on the way down, which I hadn't noticed. That's
Okay, so he did get the pyramid.
Okay, probably on the first trip down the... Yeah, I remember this now. He checked it on the first trip down the Dark World.
I gotta say that, those are called Stalfos, right? In the Ice Palace room back there with the bombs?
Yeah, Stalfos Knights.
Stalfos Knights, yes. So that trick, getting 2 in 1 bomb, is definitely a tight trick. I've done it once.
It's an easy one to forget, too, once Icebreaker became a thing. You don't get a lot of practice these days. Nobly is going to hover instead of IPBJ. This is very interesting. If you hover, you can actually hover in the other direction as well. But it's a longer hover, moving in a direction where Link moves only 1 pixel at a time instead of 2.
And we only have 1 more heart in order to try and make this hover work.
Yeah, and you can't IPBJ anymore because on 1 heart you'll die.
Yep, and there's that death.
Definitely a bold move too. Oh, there's a fairy. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. I think at this point you just go for broke, I guess. You start your hover.
Nobly might not know the bomb jump either.
Well, I can't imagine being able to hover and not knowing the bomb jump. Centroid has attempted the King's Tomb clip. This is a Death Mountain descent that gets you to King's Tomb. It requires some really specific inputs, and if you don't get them, you won't land on the rock.
Yeah, so...
what happened... Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the inputs to get to King's Tomb is you do a graveyard descent, and then as soon as you land, you want to buffer 1 pixel up, dash to the right, and then you push up to the left and then down, and then pick up the rock. Yeah.
Nobly's in chat as well, telling us he hates the bomb jump. I can't blame you for that. Bomb jump sucks. That's why we like Icebreaker in our restricted major glitches speedrun.
Yeah, when Icebreaker was found, that was definitely a holy grail for most of the community.
Yeah, if you're not aware of this, the Icebreaker is actually not allowed in no major glitches speedruns. That was the kind of the big deciding factor of the split between the rule sets between randomizer. Centroid has attempted another graveyard ledge clip. If you don't set up your subpixel right, you'll hit the transition on the wrong side and get this funny auto walk thing that will take you off of the graveyard plateau. To get the subpixel right, you have to slide down that slope slightly You don't have to go all the way, but you do have to be moving in that direction before clipping in. So he's going to do it correctly this time. And then dash or sword buffer up once. It's okay to do this. You can just walk down again and reset. So he's going to attempt a dash buffer, and this looks correct. Okay, perfect. So the game thinks you're on a bush, but you're actually on a rock. So you pick up the rock, and the game says, that's a bush. You can pick it up.
That is a weirdly not leafy bush he just picked up. So far, Ice Palace not yielding a whole lot for Nobly.
Yeah, I can only imagine, though, when you do mirrorless smiths and find bombos, you have to be thinking that this is the play to follow those, that other play, because mirrorless smiths is a very costly play. It takes a long time to do, even with the flute. So you kind of want to lean into your gambles a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Bombos is definitely required, so it's not really much of a gamble to go here, since we've already had confirmation that the smiths were required. Centroid is going to return against tower, once again without the hook shot.
Are we going to try and make the rest of the climb now that we have a little more life? It looks like it.
Yeah, well, this wouldn't be the climb, this would be Ice Armos and Rando.
Oh yeah,
room.
that's what I meant. Ice Armos. We can't get the climb yet.
Yeah, we can't do much of anything in here. I'm not sure I agree with this play, given that he's already tried to do this and is clearly missing progression somewhere else.
Yeah, Centroid in chat. Speaking of leaning in the gambles, they're both leaning in the gambles right now.
And that is a red rupee, Nice Palace. I believe that is our last item. So we're going to go fight there for a crystal. I can't blame you for not going to Turtle Rock without the cane, though. That is a really unappealing play.
Yeah, definitely.
Not too many times where I do that. I Turtle Rock without a cane and only find keys. When you only find keys there, it's like, why did I even come here?
Yeah. So now that we've been doing this for a little bit here and watching our runners and our runners watching back their own plays and us criticizing their mistakes, let's make sure that we're giving a huge shout out and thank you to Centroid and Nobly for making this race happen, and as well as their mentors who came out and assisted them in their play styles today. You can go and follow Nobly over on their Twitch channel and Centroid over on their Twitch channel. You can also follow Obscure and prdwong on their channels. Oh, and there's Fire Rod in GT randomizer room.
So if you can hover, you can climb. But also, that is a really good item to have going into Palace of Darkness, because it's still not in logic, but having that Fire Rod for the back turtle room makes it a way less scary prospect.
But yeah, there are the links to each of their channels in chat if you all would not mind going and giving them a huge follow.
Yeah, I can only imagine. You already have your mentor dogging things, and now you have like 2 more people just scrutinizing your every move while you listen. Just being absolutely put on display. The red boomerang. That Fire Rod is quite the reward for sequence breaking this, though.
Yeah, definitely. We got the big key already, so we can check the big key chest before going down to Ice Armos.
So the best thing that could happen here is Centroid finds the Cane of Samaria, either in Gan's Tower or in Pod, which I can only imagine is where you go next here. Cane of Samaria will make Turtle Rock full clearable. Despite being a pendant, it is a lot of items.
So that was an interesting fairy grab, falling down the hole and grabbing the fairy at the same time.
Oh, did you 1.0 the fairy? That's funny.
He did not 1.0. Well, I don't know what that means, so I can't tell you if he did 1.0 or not.
Okay, so in the Japanese 1.0 version of the game, wow, Ice Armos. Okay, well, this is turning out to be quite the play. I can't imagine Nobly puts this off for too long, though, with it being in logic on his end. Yeah, anyway, the Japanese 1.0 version of the game, there's a bug where you can get hit while falling in a pit. Certain things can happen if you get hit on the last frame and die. That can cause your game to crash. That is really rare, but I imagine that's why they patched it out in future versions. It's one of the few bugs in the game that we don't like, unless we're doing some really specific glitches that you only see in the heaviest glitch speedruns.
Okay, so that's why I figured you were referring to, but then I was talking about how he grabbed a ferry, not used a ferry. Like a ferry was there and he ran into it on his way down.
Nobly is pointing out that missing red cane means that's not in logic, probably because of keys. Bomb jumping is never in logic. Yeah, would it be in logic with the hook shot to go all the way across? Because that's going to depend on key logic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what Nobly's saying. Yes, the red cane is required because to get to the big chest, you needed either the red cane or
the hook shot, which was in the big chest.
Yeah, but the hook shot wasn't in the big chest. It was in Crystal Roller Room, wasn't it?
No, the hook shot's in big chest.
Oh, it was in the big chest. Oh, okay, that's where my information was wrong. It was in the big chest. Yeah. Big chest requires cane or hook shot. Nobly is correct here. That means the cane is out there in the wild somewhere, and Centroid just has to find it, and then it'll be a straight shot through Turtle Rock if he so chooses to get that hook shot.
So
yeah, thanks for pointing that out.
The real question is the hook shot somewhere out there in the Breath of the Wild?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely going to be in this game.
It's in this game where we climb mountains, that may or may not be Breath of the Wild.
So which shrine do you think is going to have the red cane?
I actually need to play Breath of the Wild. I haven't played it yet.
Oh, I haven't played it either. I just like to make jokes about A Link to the Past being Breath of the Wild because this is the only game I play. Alright, we got simultaneous Palace of Darknesses. One of them has the red cane, or not the red cane, the fire rod, which is going to make these back rooms a little bit easier.
Yeah, the dark maze is a little more forgiving if you know where the torches are to clear it out.
I like that bonk that Centroid did to avoid taking knockback from the bomb as he fell. If you throw your bomb at the right place, you can stand on the pit such that it drops you without you getting hit by the bomb, but it's kind of tight to do that. So if your bomb gets a little bit too high, it looks like you can just do that bonk to avoid taking knockback and still fall into the pit early.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing that can happen is you get 1.0'd by the bomb. As long as you don't die on the same frame, nothing weird will happen. All right, we're going to be very quiet to let Nobly concentrate on this dark room here. Sitting in chat giving his past self good vibes.
There's also torches in this room that he's about to go into, which obviously he doesn't have a fire rod in order to get through, but this is what's going to make Centroid catch up a little bit on time, is having the fire rod to get through this next room.
Yeah, assuming that Nobly doesn't just blast through this room with bombos. This can go fast if you're lucky and or skilled enough to pull it off. But if you
hammer all 6 down and then bombos them to death.
Yeah, oh, that feels so good when that happens. If you take too long, though, it can get very frustrating trying to find those last turtles. I believe that's the last one.
It looks like we're in the next room where the that little cross is with the teleporter in the middle.
Centroid appears to have had a quick swap accident and used the mirror instead of the bow to hit that crystal switch.
Oh no!
The mirror will not activate the switch. It will activate you instead.
That's some sage advice right there. Mirror doesn't activate switch, it activates you. Or in Soviet Russia, Mirror activates you. I've seen some really funny quick swap accidents already in this tournament.
Yeah, quick swap accidents are kind of a fun side effect of quick swap, at least for the viewers. And that's Helmosaur down for Nobly. Still no red cane though. So you have to wonder, with the hookshot being out of logic, where that is.
That is our 4th sword though, 3rd for Nobly, so all 4 swords are in play.
It's funny, yeah, both runners are just so far out of logic in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Nobly has sequence broken to the hookshot, and Centroid has sequence broken the hookshot.
So, I've been told a few times by different mentors, if you're good at counting keys, you can actually know whether or not the Helmless Hellway is a key.
You can indeed, and the way you do that is there's a couple rules that Palace of Darkness follows. One of them is that there's always at least 4 keys in the front being anything not past this door that Centroid is walking through. The second rule is that the big key cannot be, or the small keys cannot be in the Pod Dark Mace or on Helmosaur. So once you've found, you've counted your keys in the front, you can find anywhere between 4 and 6. You can just count your keys back here and know when you've reached 6. Usually you'll be finding 2 keys in the back. A good rule of thumb, if you have routed Pod normally and opened all the doors you normally would, is that if you have only 2 keys, then Harmless Hellway is a key, because that's going to be your 6th key. If you have only 1, it's because you spent a key. But if you have 3 keys, then Harmless Hellway has an item. So nobody has 1 key, knows that Harmless Hellway is a key. The reason nobody has 1 key is because he went to Helmosaur first.
Espeon in chat telling us that there are extra rules regarding the bow when it comes to key routing this dungeon.
Yeah, there is some chests that Harmless Hellway normally requires 6 keys, but sometimes it requires 5 because the bow is locking the small key door in the back. But you don't really need to know the key logic in that much detail if you're just playing normal randomizer. If you're playing Key Sanity, you might want to read into it more. But most of the time, you literally count to 6. Count to 4 and then count to 6. And that will get you there. Oh, yeah, this makes sense. So nobody did Helmosaur first because he didn't have the mirror, as he points out. Helmosaur, of course, defeating him will warp you back to the beginning of the dungeon, reducing the need to actually mirror. That is a fairy revival. An attempted death warp.
That is a trolley fairy revival right there. Although, that could have been planned, now that I'm thinking about it, because if you didn't want that fairy in your bottle, the easiest way to use it is to force a fairy revival, so that could have been strategy.
Not the fastest way to use it. You can quick swap to it and let go of it without losing any time. But sure, let's go with that.
Hey, I'm trying to get some saving grace for Nobly here.
I like to dunk on the runners when they're in chat. This is why nobody wants me as a mentor. Because if I'm their, actually, it's why everybody wants me as their mentor. Because if I'm their mentor, then I'm not in commentary. I'm not in commentary booth, so I'm not dunking on them in public. I'm only dunking on them in private.
Unless you're me, where I get to be the runner, the restreamer, the commentator, and the person being dunked on all at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Speaking of commentators and restreams, be sure to follow Malmo, who's doing a great job helping me commentate on this rebroadcast of the VOD. Our tracking is done by the tracking software that Nobly and Centroid are using. I believe Centroid is using the Codeman GitHub software over on Emo Tracker.
Yeah, and likewise with Cinaeth, follow him as well. He's streams as well on his own, and also has been providing the lion's share of the restreaming services for this tournament. So give him your love. Nobly is gonna get his butter sword in the Dark Cross. He's coming from the other direction, which makes me think this is his first trip into the back of his skate. We're gonna see nearly simultaneous gold swords from different locations.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we go next? There's only a few locations in logic for Centroid. One of them being Ice Palace.
Ice Palace is in logic.
Have the Bombos Medallion. Okay, yeah, Bumper Cave and then Smiths and then Ice Palace, or Turtle Rock.
Swamp Palace also has a ton of checks in it and is in logic for Centroid.
It is not in logic because of where the mirror was. The mirror was in Ganon's Tower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Centroid has to find these mitts to kind of get back on the logical track. The mitts will hopefully lead him to the Smith Chain because there's not going to be that much that it unlocks. There's also Eastern Palace, which is fully clearable but also a pendant.
Mm-hmm.
Centroid's going to go to Skull Woods without Fire Rod. The Fire Rod is out of logic, but the front of Skull Woods can still have progression in it. This will also lead nicely into Bumper Cave.
I mean, it's a mystery vodcast for us, Espion, because we haven't seen this race yet.
Yeah, I believe Espion is also not seen and is trying to speculate into the past. We have a very special crystal ball. It sees into the past. It does not see into the future.
Isn't that called the Oracle of Seasons?
You have to pay extra for that one.
Or is that the Oracle of Ages?
Where is Nobly going? Misery Mire. Without the Cane of Samaria. That is in logic. But
yep, and Red Cane is Vanilla Mire, so that's a thing.
Can be in there. Have you really not seen the dig game?
A pendant check shows us that we got blueberries on the pedestal.
Is this Nobly's first trip into the South Dark World?
Maybe.
This logic is tying my brain into knots. Trying to watch two runners who are both out of logic for different reasons and have taken wildly divergent paths is not easy to commentate.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of trying to figure out where the heck our logic is right now. We know that the mirror needs the Smith Chain to go into logic.
Well, the mirror is in Ganon's Tower. It needs the Cane of Samaria. Everything is locked behind that cane.
Well, mirror's on Ice Armor, so you can climb that with just hammer and hookshot, can't you?
The hookshot's also out of logic. Behind the cane.
Right, which, yeah, okay, you need Red Cane. Okay, sorry, forgot about that.
I mean, I forgot to until Nobly pointed it out. I need a mentor.
I need an adult.
I saw one of our mentees has a stream with a reward of coaching you through a seed, and I think I might take them up on that offer. Just they're a better player than I am in no glitches, so that might be worth doing.
So this has turned into a Red Cane hunt. We know it's not an Ice Palace. we know it's not in Skull Woods so far. We're looking through Skull Woods right now to see if we can find it. It could be a Misery Mire. It could, let me see. It could also, it can't be in Swamp, because we already looked there. We haven't been to Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern is looming big. It's been there the whole time. That bow was in Sphere 1. So even the boss is in Logic. The only thing that's not in Logic are the dark rooms because of where the fire rod was.
Our runners here listening to our guesses of where the red cane is, and they're like, it's in the worst location. Because it's always in the worst location.
It's always in Mire or in Turtle Rock if you haven't been there already. Sometimes it's just the first chest of GT and you're supposed to use it to get to the hammer. So you're supposed to go into Ganon's Tower with nothing.
See, I'm on the deciding factor here that red cane is always in the last place that you look for it.
Nobody's thinking it's in Hype Cave because it's gotta be, right? You haven't done Hype Cave yet.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Just trash.
Yeah, Hype Cave isn't really hype in Overworld Glitches, if I've noticed.
It's not really hype in any glitches. It's Hype Cave. It's bad.
It's the anti-Hype Cave.
Nothing is really hype. I would say like Ganon's Tower usually has something, but other than that, everything is spread so thinly over the world because of how accessible things are. Oh, there's another quick swap accident. Oh, this time we have cast Ether instead of used the hammer. Oh, it was no who hadn't checked the pyramid. So imagine this is a pyramid. You would have already done hammer pegs having those mitts, so this is the end of the line for this route. Or Catfish. Yeah, you can go to Catfish from here because having gone into Turtle Rock, he orphaned Catfish, and this is really the only time to do it.
Yep. I still feel like this is a slower way to do Catfish. Like, I get you're orphaning it by doing Turtle Rock, but I don't know. I probably would have done Catfish first and then fluted up to the mountain to do Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I'm too chicken to not do Catfish when I'm on the mountain, unless I have like full TR access. Sometimes if I have the mirror, I can go in and then mirror clip out, but that's slow.
Oh yeah, Espion's making a good point. If you do Catfish here, doing it this way, you want to do DMA from Catfish if possible.
Yeah, that is not a DMA. I would say most of the runners, or even the mentors, know. Maybe Espion can teach me. So Centroid is finding the mitts. This is probably not what he had hoped to see here.
Yep, so this might pull Centroid back towards the Smith chain, which would get them, you know, very little, but it would at least start pulling them in the right direction.
Yeah, it won't be mirrorless, which is nice. So you can do it a little bit quicker. It's not going to be as unappealing. So dashing up here means you're intending to do a Lumberjack Death Mountain ascent. Or just mirror somewhere. Where are we going?
Checking Lumberjack. Maybe we haven't been here on Centroid's side yet.
Has Centroid not learned the lesson? That is a medallion. That is Quake. That's a medallion we won't be seeing this seed. Centroid has not seen the race between Walther and I believe it was Schulzer. No, Krebel and Walther, right? Who had the Lumberjack mirror. That was a fun one. So Nobly is going to route Spike Cave into Ganon's Tower. This is his first trip into GT. He's going to find all of these things that will, you know, sort of appear to be in logic, but because of where that hookshot was, they're actually not. Well, so I imagine Espion asking why we don't actually look at the medallion. I think it might just be a cropping issue. I think Centroid can actually see it and we can't because of the way the restream is cropped.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's the very top of the border of the game on their stream, so I'm not able to see it either.
Yeah, that's a common thing to happen on restreams. It's just a necessity of not having exposed borders when you're playing. I think I actually had missed the item earlier as well when Nobly checked it.
Okay, so Centroid saying that the it is cropped on the restream. I'm not gonna try and fix it right this second.
Centroid was getting a second look at it because to confirm that it wasn't in fact Bombos Medallion for Meyer. It's kind of nice to get these clarifications from the runners. You don't usually get that on a restream.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know if that was intentional. He shot one Lambo and hit the other.
Yeah, it's possible to one cycle that Lammo if you know exactly what to do.
So that Lambo, that was an accessible crystal. It was out of logic though, because of the fire rod and most of his inventory not being in logic. Looks like Centroid's going to be taking that out of logic fire rod into Ice Palace.
Yep. I mean, technically, Ice Palace is in logic if you had gotten Bombos earlier, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Well, for him, it's not in logic because he doesn't have bombos, but it's only one step away from being in logic, and it's not behind the cane. So the cane could be here, he just doesn't know it.
Yep. Yeah, we know in the future, and they know in the future, that the cane's not here.
Yeah, we're stream sniping, we know everything. And we're also getting intel from the runners themselves. You don't get that very often. It's one thing to have the mentor whispering in your ear, but to actually have the runner telling you what they were thinking, very handy.
Mm-hmm.
Bomb prize pack on Pen Gators is really nice to have in Ice Palace. You do a lot of bomb jumps in this dungeon if you don't have the cane.
Yeah, we'll see how much Cent shows us as far as bomb jumps.
So interesting thing about Nobly in Ganon's Tower, despite being out of logic, he can climb it. He can actually fight Aghanim too. He will not be finding the Cane of Samaria up here. I imagine he knows that and will not be opening chests except to find possibly the lamp, because that would be a nice thing to have.
So Centroid is not quite getting the 2-for-1 bomb on these Stalfos Knights. Yeah. Tripping over my words again. Looks like Nobly knows how to free Bob.
Very nice bomb jump on Centroid's side, getting through ice the NMG way.
Yeah, that was a lot faster. Alright, so Centroid I think is getting instructions from his mentor at this point as far as where they should go into Ice Palace.
I think I know what Centroid's trying to learn here. He's in Ice Palace without... And when you're in Ice Palace without a hookshot and don't find a small... You have to do another bomb jump up here to get to the chest. And that bomb jump can be kind of tricky because you have to face a certain way that you might not be used to. If you don't know the spin setup to get on the edge, actually lining up that pixel can be rather difficult.
Yeah, but as we saw from Nobly, actually no, Nobly used hookshot to get through here, so never mind what I was about to say.
Yeah, nobody had the hookshot. So that's why this is different. So Centroid is going to dash buffer to the edge here because we're Overworld Glitch players, and that's what we know how to do. You start to get into the habit of dash buffering everything. So once you get it, so Centroid has found that last pixel and is now trying to get on it. Once you do that, you actually have to dash turn into the block so that the bomb is next to you instead of above you. This is going to be kind of hairy though on 3 hearts. One of the you can take 1 hit. Yeah, it's best to just drink the potion because if you miss the bomb jump, the bomb will take 1 heart and the pit will take 1 heart and you'll die. This looks right. Oh, it wasn't. Yeah. See, I only know how to do this with the spin setup, so I don't actually know what the pixel queue is, which can make it a little difficult to mentor someone who's trying to do this for the first time. I would recommend, if you haven't done so already, learn that spin setup. It makes these jumps so much easier. There's a really good video by Koi who teaches you how to do various bomb jumps and also teaches this teaches this setup that gets you on the edge of a pit. Almost for free. And as I had mentioned earlier, if you have trouble with those, you can also hammer dash onto the pit and turn away using that hammer animation to stop yourself so that you don't walk away from the pit too much. Yeah, I wouldn't blame prdwong for using this setup. Normally what you do is you'd be facing the block already and you'd spin setup onto it. But if you don't know the spin setup and you're used to dash buffering while facing up because you're a glitch runner, this might actually be the easiest way to teach it.
So these mages that Nobly is fighting right now, it's honestly easier just to pull out a medallion and kill them.
Missing the lamp though, you might want to be... they do have half magic, but you have to be cognizant magic level and what tools you have to light these torches. It is probably faster if you don't know the arrow strat to just use ether. Yeah, so as I'm saying, you just go on the lowest pixel, tap left, and pit bomb. That does seem to be what they were doing. The dash back, get on the... But you're correct, there is no extra movement. You just have to be kind of wedged into that corner with the block, and you have to be on the lowest pixel, and you have to be facing left. So whatever method gets you to that position, whatever works for you, that will be a good setup.
Not checking the top checks by the key mini Helmosaur.
Yeah, these are out of luck. They could not have the Cane of Samaria because of where the big key was.
I get that, but still, it would be nice to know if there was a nice like armor upgrade on it to help you out, or I don't know, a lamp.
Yeah, armor's nice. The bottle that he found was nice too. I think the lamp, honestly, would be the best safety to find here. They haven't done Misery Mire yet.
And a map at the very end on the validation chest.
Maybe the map will help them find the cane. It says, it's not here, dummy. Go back to the logic.
This is definitely, I think, the most out-of-logic Overworld Glitches seed that we have seen.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Pendant Eastern and Misery Mire are the only locations left. Am I correct?
I'm looking. Yeah, you're right. That's it. We haven't been to Misery Mire and we haven't been to Eastern.
We have a mushroom, but I don't know if that's been turned in, and I don't know where it...
I don't believe that the mushroom's been turned in at all.
I can't imagine that's in logic, given all these things that they've been doing out of logic.
Yeah, I don't honestly know if the mushroom's in logic or not.
At the Art of Winter is making a very good point about Misery Mire. They currently do not have an in-logic fire source, so the left side of Mire is not in logic for the Cane of Samaria until they find the lamp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think Eastern, knowing if we're trying to follow logic, Eastern's probably the better, stronger play. So it looks like an hour 27 Nobly is finally going to go look at Uncle and see what he has.
Yeah. Did Nobly check Pyramid Fairy, or I imagine
I don't believe
not.
so.
It's out of logic.
They activated Aga 2 and then mirrored directly from Aga 2.
No, Pyramid Fairy cannot have the Cane of Samaria because the red crystal is Mire and the mirror was behind it in Ganon's tower.
Mm-hmm.
Nobly says Rando Brain took and he picked up chests because they were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rando Brain is real. The chest is there, it's shiny, you gotta get it. Centroid is getting blue potions. I wonder if these are for safety or for travel.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they let go of
a fairy, yeah.
Yeah, let go of a fairy for a blue potion, so I would imagine travel.
It's kind of funny the way it is, because when you have the flute, the fake flutes matter a little bit less, but when you have the flute, it also becomes much easier to buy blue potions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Centroid has confirmed that it's for safety and not for...
I still think that's an interesting play to make, is letting go of a fairy in order to get safety.
Well, blue potion is a better safety than a fairy, and they have so much money they can afford it.
Alright, so we're seeing Eastern for the first time. Let's see if there's a red cane here. First check is a heart, so that is one of 3 items, I believe. Alright, second item is a map.
This is getting tight because only one item left that's in. So do you think we're going to find or the lamp?
At this point, I think we're going to find Cane before a lamp. I honestly think that lamp is in the top of GT, but I could be completely wrong. There's the big key.
And a rupee. That's it for in-logic checks in Eastern. Doesn't mean that it can't be Lamp and Mire leading to Cane in Eastern Palace.
Mm-hmm.
There is still one item remaining in here. They have not found the compass, and they have not found the third item yet.
So that means that, yeah, it would either have to be Red Cane in Misery Mire or Lamp in Misery Mire, and Cane is the next item that we're about to find.
And both of these are awful locations, so you can't even necessarily feel ahead. You find the Cane in Lamps and Mire, versus you just find the Cane in Mire. They're both bad locations.
But if Cane's in Mire, then my instinct is correct that Lamp is somewhere in GT.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of locations in GT. There's also Turtle Rock.
And there's the third item, 300 rupees. That means that Cane, I think, has to be in Mire now.
It does, unless we are missing something. And nobody has corrected us yet. So, including the runners. I feel like I've played this seed before. I feel like I've rolled this seed before.
Yeah, Vanilla Cane is definitely possible. I think, wasn't it, there was a race last week we saw that the Red Cane was literally in the big chest of Misery Mire?
I want to say I mentored that race. That sounds very familiar. If it wasn't that, it was the weekly race. I feel like I personally was wronged by that cane, so I must have been a mentor.
I think a lot of people have been personally wronged by the Glitch Cane.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh!
There's a spot set up the coffee break on that corner there, and that corner has soft lock potential. If you land between those pegs, you will not be able to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it often takes the whole tile room sequence before the runner figures it out.
So the funny part about that is I've done that glitch, but I've only done that glitch after someone told me about it. I've gotten it every other time.
Oh, I believe I was there. I think I was. I think you've done it twice with me as your mentor. It made me sad.
Mm-hmm.
I see somebody go into the corner, and I just know that one of these days they're going to get that soft lock because it happens to everyone at some point. Nobly is fighting Moth to get the crystal. This is out of logic, but it is a crystal. It is required.
Now, Centroid's making the Tower of Hera climb did go down to Tile Room to grab the big key. I honestly don't remember if Nobly cleared the entire dungeon or did the hook and did Moldarm and didn't get anything else.
He did a hook. Here. Oh my gosh, you almost made me say hook push. He did Hera pot up Tower of Hera. We are not hook pushing in this category. He did the Hera pot. I don't know if he got both items out of Hera. It doesn't matter because they're out of logic anyway.
The screen is the worst because you can't exactly scroll enough to get your crystal. You have to either kind of trick the camera or you have to mirror.
Yeah, you can fire rod it if you fix your camera a little bit. If you don't have a ranged weapon, you just have to leave. There are some nice enemies there that you can death warp on, so you're not completely screwed if you do soft lock there.
Excuse me.
Nobly is gonna mirror to Graveyard Ledge. What is this tech? I've never seen it before.
What is this vanilla logic?
Now, Graveyard Ledge is Sphere 1, so this isn't logic despite the mirror being used here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're going to go see King's Tomb right after this.
Yeah, with the mitts in hand, that's what you do. Just like you do, and no glitches. No! Centroid.
And Centroid falls down the pit all the way to the bottom floor.
It was almost a save and quit.
I'm thinking Nobly's taking the hint. Go over to Misery Mire and find the red cane.
I think this is more than just a hint. I think this is a last location. Unless there's something Centroid has done that Nobly hasn't done that I'm missing. Mirroring to Desert. Probably just to knock out Land Molus. Required, not in logic. Nobly does have the Fire Rod despite it not being marked on the tracker. It was in the bottom of GT.
Alright, so Gold Sword, Green Mail against Moldarm 1. I don't know how Centroid's gonna survive this with only 2 hearts. Or heart and a half, I'm sorry.
Moldarm actually hits rather hard on this health. I can't blame you for getting these hearts here, although the hammer dash may be a little excessive. It is a very efficient way to grab that many hearts.
That is true.
This is a nice lemon lime color scheme on Centroid's sprite as well. Gold sword and mirror shield and green cane. You don't see that very often. You don't need to do spins with the gold sword. You can if you want to. The slashes do the same damage and you get a little more maneuverability. spin, you do get that safety where if he knocks you into the ledge, you can hold back and sort of... Oh, this is a pendant.
Yep, it's not required.
Yeah, Centroid is far enough out of logic that he probably hasn't confirmed that this can't be required in locking something. Nobly has also grabbed it earlier, I think during a stage when he was still looking for other progression. He hadn't gone to Ganon's tower yet, so was still missing things like the mirror and the fire rod.
Mm-hmm.
Nobly has done something really clever with this tracker, as he is explaining in chat. He has actually unclicked all the out of logic items, except for the hook shot, to help keep track of what is and isn't in logic. That's a very clever use of the tracker.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's why the fire rod's not marked in the mirror in the book.
That actually makes... Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to do it that way, because then you can kind of look at your tracker and say, okay, I know I have these items, but they're not in logic, so I shouldn't be focused on using them to find my logic.
I do wonder about the hook shot, but maybe because the hook shot doesn't actually lock anything anymore, it doesn't matter. I guess it locks Swamp Palace, but with the mirror out of logic, then Swamp Palace will never come into play. That will always be a Gomo dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Centroid mirror clipping. Wonder why.
Yeah, trying to mirror down the mountain, maybe?
That's a... You can just spin speed clip off of this. Using that diagonal slope.
Yeah, this is definitely a slow way to go down the mountain if that's what you're planning on doing.
Yeah, normally when you do this, it's because you are a bunny and are trying to get into that void as a bunny. So the spin speed clip's not an option in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a really fast way to get to Super Bunny Cave, there's actually a mirror wrap you can do on that same transition where you normally flute. The hard part is actually finding the cave afterward because you have to do some blind navigation.
Either that or go up top and just do the land bridge to get over to Super Bunny.
I always just go too. That's easier. Even if it's faster. I don't think it's faster to mirror wrap. If you're already down here, it's because you climb the mountain and then walk down again.
Alright, so this is not a cane, because those torches require fire rod, which is out of logic.
So, yeah, it is a big key, so it was required. So even when you know you don't have to do the firelock side for your go mode, you still have to do it, because of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why nobody's going down here, though. Nothing good can be here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't believe that there's a key here in order to continue the dungeon. We do have to go to right side Misery Mire at this point to look for Red Cane.
Okay, nobody is saying he has not done Eastern Palace yet, so it could just be Lamp and Eastern leading to Cane and Mire.
Okay, I see that logic.
Well, Centroid is showing us how to get to East Death Mountain as a bunny, despite not being a bunny. This is the logical way to do it. You do this mirror clip to get off into the void, and then you kind of mirror clip slightly into this like Super Nintendo controller shaped rock, and for some reason it throws you upward. I'm not sure how anybody figured that out, but this is actually a very old method of getting across the mountain.
Alright, come on, Red Cane in Misery Mire. There it is.
There it is. Well, it wasn't literally vanilla. Oh, door state extension. Uncooperative fire snake. Oh well.
I mean, that's a French vanilla Red Cane.
Yeah. It didn't even have the decency to literally being in the big chest like it was last time. It just had to be somewhere boring. At this point, you're like, I'm just gonna show off. This seed is already gone to the toilet. Might as well just do something fun with it. Do the store state extension in Mire that saves 4 seconds.
So I don't know what this door state extension does, or what this minor glitch does.
It's the same mechanic as Icebreaker, where the game thinks you're still in a doorway. I don't understand the exact mechanics of this particular application because I never bothered to learn it. It has to do with when you like tap a diagonal, or when you tap a cardinal into a doorway. It tries to just kick you out of the doorway instead of letting you go sideways.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you're in a door, you can't go sideways unless you did something special to get into the door. Instead, it'll just like slide you out of the door. So you're taking advantage of that property of doors to go through things. Centroid is gonna possibly get to this hook shot, depending on whether he chooses to sequence break the big chest or not. This is a truly disgusting item placement. Imagine doing this without sequence breaks, because you have to go to Kane, then you have to come back here with the Kane to get the hook shot, and then go to Gan's Tower and get all of those go mode items that were in there. I mean, that was like the mirror and the fire rod. You had to go to Kane. You had to go to Meyer without a fire source when the big was fire locked. So you were supposed to go to Meyer and get the Kane, go to wherever, get all those other things, and then go to wherever the lamp is. It's obviously behind the Kane somewhere. It might be in like Swamp Palace as well. And then go back to Meyer, get your big key, and do the back.
Yep. Imagine this not being a Malmo roll seed.
Well, I think we've proven that Overworld Glitches just has bad seeds. It's the nature of the world being open up to you. It's a kind of give it, taketh away situation where you have the boots so you can go fast and you can take shortcuts. The seeds don't usually take that much longer than no glitches seeds, despite how bad they are. So you don't necessarily feel like you're losing as much time because you're not. But the seeds are just... they have a potential to be very trolly. Like, Kane can't be, like, in Meyer locking something in GT and going back to Meyer in a 7-7 open, no glitches. Let's see if Centroid takes that. Centroid is gonna... I'm wondering if he stole the key. This doesn't make sense because he doesn't have a small key to get there. Oh, he's gonna go to Crystal Roller Room. Crystal Roller Room is in logic, and this makes sense.
Alright, so Nobly is finally making their way into Swamp Palace. They're now in go mode to just find... actually, not even find the big key, just find enough small keys in order to get to the back.
To Swamp Palace?
Right.
Swamp Palace is the one small key in the front, and then you just go to the back.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a very quick dungeon. Centroid has not done the bomb jump to the big chest, so that hook shot is going to be probably his last item. Except for maybe the Bombus Medallion. The Bombus Medallion is actually worse, I think. Do you do the Smiths now?
Yeah, we're doing the Smith now.
That's good, because the Bombus Medallion was actually one of the worst things you could last location in the seed. Anything that's on the Smiths is going to be bad if it doesn't lock anything else, and in this case it didn't. Oh no, Bombus locks Meyer. He has to do this.
Yeah,
Never
he
mind.
has to do this.
Yeah, this is good. This is a bottlenecking situation, which is a lot better than what I was describing.
Yeah, Bombos is required by Misery Meyer to get in, so this is a required play right here.
Yep. That's very good. So if you're reading your logic, you'll know that the Smith chain has to lead to progression. This is last location, according to Centroid. Yeah, this is the kind of seed where you can be punished really hard. as I would have been by missing the logic of the hookshot being locked by itself and the cane. Because you can go into swamp looking for all of these items. When otherwise you can tell pretty quickly that it can't be in there. I'm a little sad we're not going to get to see where the lamp was.
I'm still betting it's in GT.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. There's all that, of course, the cane lock side of GT and the tower, the 2 chests in the tower we didn't see.
I kind of wonder if that diver down method with the red cane is easier than doing it with the bomb.
I think it's easier. The one where you like jump into the water and then splash out of the water. That's the version you can. If you don't know how to do that version, Koi video. This is my second time plugging Koi's videos. He's very good at teaching minor glitches. That one is good because it works on all of the pools. It's the same inputs every time. You also do that splashing thing if you're doing the bomb method. So you'll place your bomb in a certain pixel, and then you do that splashing thing that gets you on the railing in a particular position. I don't know if there's the old Andy method that a lot of people use for the cane. I don't know if that works with the bomb. So while that might work for you for the cane diver down, if you're wanting to learn the bomb diver down, you should probably watch Koi's video. Nobly is hinting that we might actually see a lamp. I wonder if it's on a boss. In this case, it would have to be on this boss because this is the last boss we'll be seeing in this run.
It is not on this boss.
Alright, well, we still got Centroid. Centroid might open chests in Swamp Palace just to humor us.
Or Nobly might meme on us and go to a different dungeon.
I mean, this is Ganon. We're finished. But we could get some treasure hunting at the end if they really want to know where that lamp was. This area is impossible to dash through. There must be some optimal way.
Yeah, the optimal way is to bonk into everything you see.
I don't think I've ever dashed through that area without bonking at least.
There should be a bonk counter for the swamp area just by itself.
I've always wondered how many of these bonks that we get in our bonk counters are actually intended, because I always get like the same amount, and I know I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. I think there's actually a lot of bonks you do on purpose.
Alright, so here comes a Ganon fight over on Nobly's screen.
Giving us a snail fact to complement the seed's pace.
So green male Ganon is super dangerous. I mean, these bats will do a lot of damage to you. Ganon Hug will practically kill you, even with this much hearts.
That's a very good point. Where are the males?
In GT somewhere.
Yeah, or Turtle Rock. Possibly. That's a...
Oh yeah, Laser Bridge could be a place for them.
Imagine sequence breaking Laser Bridge and finding the lamp. Oh, it can't be there. I had actually explained that exact thing earlier. Lamp cannot be in the back of Turtle Rock for the same reason the big key can't be. But it can be upstairs in GT. It can be in the front of Turtle Rock, behind the fire rod, in the cane.
We got a double.
Mimic Cave is a location as well. It's been out of logic because of the mirror, but that can also be our lamp.
And Ganon is dead on Nobly's screen.
Good game.
We just gotta get across that bridge.
They say with a straight face. Good game, bad seed. It's a theme of this tournament.
Yeah. GG to Nobly. So Nobly, I know you're in chat. Do you actually want to come in for an interview for this vodcast? All right, Nobly is declining an interview. Good game to Nobly, though.
Mm-hmm. Nobly has provided us with plenty of commentary, so we got to see into their head already.
4:30 in the morning is way too early.
Yeah.
I'm yawning. It's 10:30 at night for me.
I mean, that would be why they're not racing right now, right? At least this is no effort on Nobly's part, except to chat with us here. Yeah, the insult to injury here is that you got to do Dark Mire after all of this.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the insult to injury is Darkmire after doing all that back and forth between how many different dungeons?
Yeah. After all this time, you're still out of logic. Oh yeah, if you release that spin after the door, everything lines up wrong here. If you're doing Dark Mire and you found the door, it's actually best to release the spin before you walk through the door for exactly that reason. At least we have the silver arrows.
Yeah, Silver Arrows makes Vitreous a little bit more bearable after this nonsense.
I like this just pumping of arrows into the seed. I think Centroid is trying to kill both the Vitreous and Misery Mire.
I don't think I can blame Centroid for trying to kill Misery Mire.
Shoutouts to the Ice Rod that we got basically in the first 10 minutes of the seed and never had any reason to use because of our go mode with Kane.
Going to bed is in logic now. I think that's arguable.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to erase another one of these for a while. The week 4 will actually be in 2 weeks because of the holidays. During the holidays, you are invited to play one of the randomized swords async seeds that we'll be posting. You can also drop into office hours and learn swordless strats for these clips if you haven't learned them yet.
Yep, so this is the last Swiss round, am I correct?
It is not. This is the penultimate Swiss round. There is going to be a round 4. It's going to be after the holiday week. And then there's going to be another break week for GDQ. We generally don't hold tournaments during GDQ because people like to do GDQ things.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll also provide a convenient opportunity for people to prepare for brackets however they need. If they feel like they've done 4 races and need more practice racing solo, they can hold pickup races. They can play in the weekly. Centroid's going to do a mirror wrap to Turtle Rock. He's still looking for the cane, or the hook shot. And the hook shot can actually be in any of these chests now, provided that the lamp was just somewhere else. This is kind of an older setup for the mirror wrap where you line up on a pixel and then you tap up and then left to get back onto that transition without stop walking. Yeah, Nobly, you do not need to learn the old DMA. Nobody uses it anymore.
Oh, there's Blue Mail and Laser Bridge.
Yeah, they had to be somewhere. Yeah, you're going to find something here. It's going to be mail or just mail, because there's no lamp back here. But mail's not the worst thing to find here.
This definitely makes the rest of the seed a little more bearable after the nonsense it's put you through.
Yeah, so the Death Mountain Ascents that you should be learning. There's the new DMA, obviously, but there's also a version of new DMA that takes you straight to Hera. It's the same inputs until you go up, and then you just transition onto the mountain and hop down. It's a little more than what I described, but it's pretty easy to do. And then there's also Lumberjack Death Mountain Ascent, which is the best way to get up the mountain in the Dark World. Mm-hmm. Although you can use it in the Light World as well if you want to. And then there's a couple that you can do from the Zora and Catfish area that are a little niche. They get you to East Death Mountain. They're rather complicated to learn.
I'm not sure the methods that I know. Like, I've shown you the one that I've learned for restricted major glitches, and then there's another one that I did which takes you directly onto the mountain, and then you dash towards Hera, and while you're screen wrapped, and then you're basically jumping into Hera to fix your camera.
That is the one I was describing where you do new DMA, but you I think some people call that scoreless DMA, but there is another DMA called scoreless that it can be confused with. That one's also obsolete. So the one you described is the new, better way to do scoreless, or as people call it, Hera DMA.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the way you would go if you want to go to Hera first before the old man. It's
right.
Probably a matter of preference and how keen you are in rescuing the old man versus going to Hera.
Yep, so we're stuck here until we mirror out from Turtle Rock, and then we either have to use a medallion to get back in, or we have to clip back in.
Looks like we'll be opting for a medallion, which makes sense here because we've already checked the middle. There's really no sense in clipping in when you're just going to be going backwards a greater distance than going forwards from here.
Centroid says, look away, we're not going to do something nice to Turtle Rock.
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course I say that it doesn't make sense to go in the middle because the hook shot is there, but it's just one chest, and this is 3 chests. I think this is also 3 keys, though. I'm going to be a little sad when this is just 3 keys, because I have not been counting keys myself. There was a key on Laser Bridge. There's going to be a key here.
Yeah, I think there has to be 1 key in the front, because that's progression to get into the middle.
No, progression to get into the middle is just clipping into the middle.
Well, but okay, I meant with key logic, if you're doing the keys from front to back.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like you have to be able to open every door, including the ones that you walk through. This is why I recommend, if you don't actually know the key logic of Turtle Rock, it pays to just count your keys, just count to 4, just like you do in Pod, because then you don't really have to learn the logic. I mean, you still want to, but you can get away with. Centroid just realizes that there's no hook shot here. You have to go the other way.
Yeah, it's very easy to go the quote-unquote quick way when you're used to doing it and having hook shot. But since we don't have hook shot, well, we gotta do it the slow way.
Yeah, I think this can be an item. The big chest could have had the other key, so it makes sense to go here. This is what the benefit of this. There's a lamp. The benefit of this is that you can easily and then go to the middle. Versus if you go to the middle first, you're backtracking all the way to the front.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through Change Homp's room and so on.
Yeah, not having future vision on the seed, that was probably the better decision to make in the moment, not knowing what the middle was holding.
I am very glad we got to see where the lamp was. I was right, it was Turtle Rock. Even though it was improbable to be Turtle Rock because Turtle Rock, only the front can have the lamp.
So, Bombos was behind Smith Chain, which was on top of Bumper Ledge. Where was the other glove? So, one glove was on Bumper Ledge. What was the other one?
It was in Sphere 1 somewhere. Like Kakariko Village or something.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, it was just somewhere free.
Yeah, so basically get both gloves, go do Smith, go do Misery Mire. Now you have access to Turtle Rock. Go get both your lamp and your hookshot in Turtle Rock, and then just go finish the rest of the seed.
Yeah. Go to Ganon's Tower and get your everything. So if you just go to Pendant Mire and Mirrorless, it's an easy seed. Maybe this would have been a nice spoiler race. We're going to see a fast Swamp Palace here, and it's going to be... I don't know if we've actually seen our Ganon's Tower climb yet.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask you, if we've seen the Ganon's Tower Aga 2 kill from Centroid.
I don't think so, because I don't think Centroid hovered Moldorm 2 in the seed. Because that's the only way you do that without the hook shot, unless you can do the other trick that gets across, but Centroid has had hook shot go mode, so it doesn't make sense to go up there.
Yep,
when you know it's out of logic to look for a hook shot. Unless you're, you know, a confident hover and want to do it efficiently. That's the only situation where you would actually do that. Or if you wanted to route it into the pyramid.
So as we come and close towards a close on this seed, I just want to remind everyone why we're here. This is the Overworld Glitches Mentor Tournament. If you're not already following us here at Go Mode Podcast, we're going to be doing this every couple of weeks. As Malmo said, we're going to have a week off after this Swiss round 3, and then we're going to do a round 4 and then have another week off. But then after that, we're going to be going to brackets where we're not starting with a sword, we're just starting with boots, and then we're going to see who can beat who. Be sure you join our Discord to follow the latest updates as far as when these races are going to be happening, who's racing who gets eliminated when, and how long I'm going to last before I become a permanent restreamer.
Well, you have been a very good restreamer. Another thing that the runners will not be starting with in brackets is a mentor. These will be unmentored races, which is one of the reasons it's good that we have this week off where they can practice racing unmentored. Yeah, we're finding out that this Overworld Glitches is actually motivated nobly how to hover. I can relate to that. I have myself learned how to mimic clip because of this mode. Hovering is a little bit beyond me, but mimic clipping is doable. If you know how to select buffer, you can just select buffer it. It's a good skill to have in your back pocket, and as difficult as people make it out to be, if you're using buffers, it's not actually that hard. It's just very slow. Yeah, I mean, unbuffered mimic clip is hard, like legit hard. If you have the skill to do it, kudos to you. Maybe you could mentor me one of these days and I'll learn it as well. Nice little poke dash to finish off Argus.
Yep.
We're going to be collecting our 7th crystal and going to Ganon's Tower, just like you would in No Glitches. But this time we already have the big key, we're just going to go straight up and then fight Ganon.
Are we going to get a meme and open up Ganon's Tower with the 7 crystals, or are we going to clip in?
We're going to make Espeon cry.
Alright, we're on the mountain. We're gonna do a clip up to Hera. I'm gonna go down to the portal while map wrapped.
Not map wrapped exactly, that is a different thing. This is just a screen wrap.
Oh, screen wrap, sorry.
Map wrap is when you walk off the edge of the entire world map and go on the other side. It puts you in a very unstable state. where you can access certain things, but if you move wrong, you hard lock.
Oh, Peter showed you how to screen wrap this part of it on the fly. Nice.
Yeah, I think a lot of people when learning would correct their camera. It's actually the same inputs. You just have to like know where to go. A little bit of extra blind movement if you stay screen wrapped. But if you have been doing Pyramid Fairy Clip, it's the same movements. So it's not really that hard to adapt to. You just have to know it's possible.
See, I always thought that screen wrapping like that and then trying to clip off a ledge again would kind of mess you up even further because you're not technically on that map anymore.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're screen wrapping to. So screen wrapping will still do the same thing. It'll wrap you to the top of the screen. The top of the screen being Ganon's Tower, because that's what's at the top. But if you're just trying to hit the transition down there, you'll find the transition doesn't actually exist when you're screen wrapped. It's just like a wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can't Death Mountain descent that way. You can't do Graveyard Ledge Clip if you haven't fixed your camera after doing the Pyramid Fairy. You can't. And Super Jump is the opposite, where you actually like jump down one of those ledges. Instead of hitting a transition, you hit a ledge and you jump down a bunch of times to fall to the bottom of the screen. And by the bottom of the screen, I mean the map.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew the technicalities of why you actually kind of go to a different screen when you transition. Maybe Espeon can explain. You cannot do Graveyard Ledge Clip while wrapped. You just hit a wall. Espeon is saying that it would just send you to Link's house. We've actually tried it, like where we tried to do the same inputs, and it just doesn't work. So if it is possible, it would require different inputs than what we normally use. This is going to be a Cane of Samaria climb, so Wiz Robes will be a little bit easier.
Yep, if you're used to doing that setup. We got a flute out to fight the Wiz Robes, though.
I heard they're weak to music and birds.
I mean, who isn't weak to birds? So I hope everyone here has been enjoying the restream and rewatching the VOD and hanging out with us.
Yeah, we'll probably put on more like these for the times that we restream normally. Next week when things calm down, we'll have some time to collect ourselves. There obviously won't be any races to stream, but the following week there will be, and we might have more resources to restream more of these races live. Mm-hmm. If you would like to volunteer, also please stop by the Go Mode Podcast Discord. If you want to learn glitches, you can do the same. There's a whole channel dedicated to learning glitches. You do not have to be in the tournament to ask questions and hop into voice with us.
I'm a little sad that we're not going to learn what those two chests are in the mini Helmasaur room.
Yeah, they could be the other male upgrade. Other than that, though, I think we've seen everything. We have all the fetch quests. We know where Quake is. We've seen Cane of Burna on Nobly's side. We've seen both boomerangs. We have all 4 bottles, too. Looks like we're getting some something on Nobly's stream here.
I just paused it.
Some top secret randos that we're not supposed to be looking at.
I don't know what's on it, so I'm just pausing it.
Or seed.
I don't like to show broadcasts things that other streamers have done without specific permission. So
Yeah,
I know that we have permission to restream this race, but anything else, I don't want to show it.
no, that's totally abiding by the law, as they say. It's actually the right thing to do. It's AD co-op, all dungeons co-op. How does that work? I'm very curious. Now I kind of want to go watch it.
So if it's what I think it is, you turn on Link to the Past online, and you have more than one person in the same seed that's doing all dungeons.
That
or not
sounds
even
fun.
the same seed, the same vanilla game.
Yeah. Maybe I can get somebody to do all the NMG splits for me while I do the fun splits like Mire and Ice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's League Practice Info Share, all dungeon randomizer,
Oh.
ADRMG, which is sad, but
Yeah,
ADRMG
so
is my favorite category in this game.
I guess to kind of explain what Malmo and I are talking about with RMG, so there is more than one category in Link to the Past when it comes to randomizer. There's the one that we're racing right now, which is Overworld Glitches, that we explained what that is earlier. There's also something called Restricted Major Glitches, which kind of opens up some of the Underworld glitches, as well as the Overworld glitches that you're seeing now. And Restricted Major Glitches is most well known for doing the all dungeons route in vanilla, which is instead of doing the dungeons the way that you normally intend them to do in the vanilla game, you're basically going to Eastern and then directly to Hera and then directly to Thieves Town, and you're basically just going in one big counterclockwise circle and doing all of the dungeons.
Yeah, it's a very fun category. You get to see glitches, but you also still get to see the game get played. So it's not nearly as broken. And that's GG for Centroid. Thanks for retrospectively putting yourself out there, showing us your VOD of this race. This was a very special seed.
And good game to our second runner, which is Centroid41.
Would you like to join us for a voice interview, or is this all 4:30 a.m.?
I'm not even sure if Centroid's still here. No, Centroid is still here.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Feel free to join the green room, and Cinaeth will let you in.
Only if you ask nicely. No, I'm joking. And we are joined by Centroid.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Do you have anything to say about this seed that hasn't already been said?
Trying to think. Yeah, I know it looked interesting because of all the out of logic stuff, but yeah, it's just kind of after after I did a few things out of logic, it got more and more difficult to juggle all the pieces in my head. So like at some point you just kind of forget, like a couple items deep you're like, oh well, this isn't in logic, this is in logic, and at some point it just becomes a full clear because it was just too much to keep track of. But yeah, a couple other things I think kind of added to all that were places I was avoiding in like one or two minor routing mistakes I made. I think normally, and like I'm kind of susceptible just because I'm not like a really experienced runner. I'm kind of susceptible to doing like making like calling audibles and just like ditching the plan because I saw a shiny object. Like I think what happened, if my normal routing once I get into Dark World Access is to do the super drop and then do a counterclockwise, do Hype Cave and go all the way around the world that way. And I might have ended up getting those mitts earlier, which might have pointed me to the smiths, but on the other hand, I guess in this category, people don't do myths or smiths that often. But I remember getting the hammer, very close to the time I was going to go to the Dark World. I'm like, oh well, I'll just do Thieves Town because it's a crystal, and that was probably not a terrible choice, but it did kind of like break the whole Dark World loop in half, because then you kind of either got to decide to go north or go south at that point instead of doing one continuous sweep.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's actually why I'm an advocate of doing Death Mountain Descent, even when you have Dark World access, just because it does let you more efficiently route in those kind of north checks, in particular the bumper ledge, which can be very easy to orphan.
Yeah, and even just the Skull Woods checks too, right? Like I didn't have a fire source, but I still love checking the front of Skull just because it always tends to have a decent chance to have something. In my experience, like I remember in like the Key Sanity tournament, it always had a sword or something like that. Maybe it was just that version of the randomizer, but
stuff in Key Sanity in general.
Yeah. Another. I was gonna say another. I definitely avoided dungeons that I couldn't full clear. Like, I know that Pod was probably a good early play, but without the I don't remember what I didn't have. I think it was no fire source. I know we had a bow and a hammer, but without the fire source, I was like, I might skip it. I was putting off Turtle Rock until later. I know some people do Turtle Rock like pretty soon after they go into Dark World, but I know there was just a number of places that I probably could have gone earlier that I wanted to wait until I could full clear the area. And some of the good stuff was just where in those spots.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of seed where there wasn't really a right way to do it. There were just a bunch of different kinds of wrong way. But the true right thing is to keep track of that logic, because this seed had a lot of traps. Had a lot of red herrings that you can read into, and it looks like both of you did a really good job. Certainly a better job than I did, keeping track of that and making sure that you stayed out of places like Swamp Palace.
Yeah, we were just basically trying to keep up the item density in checks, and it probably doesn't help that falling a couple times in Ganon's Tower and Hera Tower definitely wasted a couple minutes too, but I don't think that would have made a big difference in the result. But yeah, like if making those out of logic plays and then taking unfortunate death and then having to commit even more time to that out of logic play was just I was compounding my own problems for sure.
So did you learn any tricks, like specific glitches on the fly? Where I saw some bomb jumps were had in Ice Palace, among other things.
Yeah, those bomb jumps PRD taught me. I probably had pulled them off once upon a time, but I didn't really remember most of them. I mean, except for the Ice Palace bomb jump, that one I can do no problem. But yeah, like the 4 red octopus room, it's like that one's really scary because if you don't pull it off, like you can't go back.
Yeah, you can't. And it's possible to kind of a warning to everybody. If you're in that room, don't kill the Baris with fire because they can drop an item that messes up your slot 0 bomb trajectory.
Ooh.
And if you can't bomb jump in that room, you are soft locked. I have personally lost a race to that happening. So just kill them, at least split them up before killing them, and then do the bomb jump.
I see. Yeah, also, I think it was apparent that I think I saw Espeon say I was on the right pixel like 10 times. So that being really the first time that I had tried to do the bomb jump in a race, like I could see there was another pixel of land under me, and I kept trying to get to it, but I did. So I thought I was not on the right pixel when I actually was. So I think now that I've gone through it once, I think I could probably do it again.
Yeah, I also stand by it's worth learning those spin setup or the hammer dash setup because you don't need to know the pixel queue. You just need to do it. And once you've done it, you can trust that you're on that last pixel because you always will be if you do it correctly. And you always get that visual feedback of watching Link teeter on the edge and then release a spin. And you can have that confidence, know you're on the edge, and you know you can just lay that bomb and trust that that bomb is going to put you where it's supposed to put you. And it's going to work in pretty much every bomb jump location that doesn't require a pixel setup. So the one that gets you to Stalfos room and Ganon's tower, again, you just go to that pit and do a spin. Skullwoods, big chest, you just go to the pit and do a spin. There's a lot of them like that. And I think it's one of the best return on investment tricks you can learn.
I see. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that because I have not, I haven't learned that method. Yeah, I might have seen some runners do it, but yeah, I haven't learned it personally.
I'll see if I can find a link to post in the Discord for other people to learn because you're not the only person who's doing manual lineups. And the manual lineups are almost always going to be harder than learning that method.
Yeah. I guess the other thing I learned on the fly was the... Yeah, I mean, clipping into Ganon's tower, I'll usually go into Hera first and then go to the Dark World. But yeah, PRD showed me how to just screen wrap that one. I mean, I wasn't sure if you could do it. Like, I wasn't sure if it was safe to do, but I guess it is.
It's always good to check. Sometimes they're not safe. Sometimes they are. And you had fluted, so it would have been very bad to hard lock there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. It takes a lot of trust to say, okay, you can do this thing. It's perfectly safe. And you've made a lot of progress.
I see. Yeah, I guess if you've just literally reset the game from a save and quit, you can almost do whatever you want, but yeah.
Yeah. Routing and safety saves when you have the flute and mirror can be a very important part of this mode. Even experienced runners can run into hard locks just from getting complacent.
Alright, well, is there anything or any other parting comments that you would like to give us before we head out for the night?
Just thanks to the Restream crew, and thanks to my mentor PRD for picking up the race for me this week.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely thank you to our mentors who have been, I feel like, working almost double time trying to get these racers in, especially with the scheduling that we've been working with.
Yeah, those European time zones are tough. We're still looking to fill a mentor slot tomorrow. I want to say it's at 4 p.m. Eastern. So if you were a mentor and are available at 4 p.m. Eastern, we are filling at least one slot there as well. If you want to be a mentor and haven't signed up yet, you can just ask. And, anyone with glitch randomizer experience is welcome to join as a mentor. We are always...
Unless you're also a racer, then you're banned.
That's not true. We are allowing racers to mentor other racers, as long as it's okay with everybody involved, including the opponent. Mm-hmm. This is all about learning, so if racers want to help other racers, they are welcome to do so. As long as they are not literally their opponent in that race, because obviously...
That wouldn't work.
That would just be a co-op seed at that point.
Alright. Well, you guys heard it here first. Be sure to join our Discord to see the future races. Be sure to follow this channel so you can see when we go live with the next race. And be sure to follow our racers, Centroid and Nobly. Follow their mentors, Obscure and prdwong. Give Malmo a huge follow for helping out on commentary as well.
Yeah, and with that, we'll check out. We'll see you in the next race. Good night.
See you later.